No, it ain't dogging nobody. It's just putting out there what, kind of like myth busting. You hear all these things going on of what works, what doesn't work, and stuff like that. And the only way to disprove it is to have proof like this. You know, they put tape on there, and it's very sticky tape. It's duct tape, but you can see it's taped right here. However, if you turn the spool, you see the glue all over the backside, and obviously they didn't put more tape. I mean, I just unspooled it right now. So I didn't pull off any tape. You were standing here seeing me do that, but how did glue get on that side? Yeah. And then, like I said, when I was downspooling, I told you that either they had mono or they had tape, and it was still drifting like that, or they didn't tie it correctly. So that is proof right there that even with tape, if they don't tape it like thoroughly, it's still gonna drift on you or slip. So, yeah, that's tape right there. So let's take that off. We'll tie it correctly, re-spool it, and then.
Gotta bite. I think I got a lot of stress on my mind. It's a nice day to go. Yeah, I gotta learn. I'ma call up the whole team.
Let's see if maybe I can go outside for a cast. Let's see.
So you would have to put more tape, you would say,
if you don't know how to tie the knot.
If you don't know how to tie the knot.
Yeah, you tie it to there, and then you tape it all the way. Yeah, all the way on both sides to keep it from doing that. But yes, no.
Is it not good?
No. Look, sitting there spinning it.
So with a good knot, that shouldn't even spin.
That is correct. See, the knot, you got to ensure that it grips the spool. And the only way to do that is to have it wrap the spool 8 to 10 times.
So what the tape is, so supposedly tighten it super tight, right?
Not to tighten it, to keep it locked in place. It acts like an anchor.
Oh, okay.
So since they didn't use your little nipple here, they should have, tied on that and then maybe, tape around it or whatever. But once you tie to that, you shouldn't have to use tape or whatever. But I wouldn't tie straight to that. I would wrap around the spool and then tape to that or tie to that to lock it in place. But me personally, I don't like using those. I don't know. I don't trust them. But it's just me. But I've also seen where if you rub the edge, you can feel the sharp edges on it. This one don't really feel like, oh yeah, it does. If I rub on this side, I feel like you're rubbing a knife edge. That's what you feel on that side. So let's see. I got some cleaner. All right, guys. So while I was editing this footage, I thought of something. Because I have downspooled reels that have been taped all the way around the arbor and still had the drift-like effect of the snake-like line on there. So maybe, even with tape, we are still seeing where the line is not anchored to the spool and it's still spinning on the spool, causing that to happen.
That you saw on there, I wonder how that happened.
I don't know. I didn't spool the reel. Don't know. And you said you've never gotten to that portion at all?
No, until I lost the line. I had to cut off the line. So I've never been that far deep down. Because it was pretty much full.
I don't know. What's up, T? All right, guys. So to further explain what I was talking about with the tape, I have downspooled reels that have used tape wrapped around the arbor completely. However, we still saw the braid in a snake-like effect. So, it tells me that it is slipping, but I had no proof that it could do that or is doing that, because when the tape is wrapped around the spool arbor, it's hard to see through the tape. Obviously, it's not clear. However, seeing this piece of tape and seeing the gunk build up all around the arbor, that tells me that that piece of tape was moving around the spool arbor and causing that to happen and giving the snake-like effect of the braid backing up and slipping on the spool. So this is gonna really be a challenging video for a lot of people to understand, because they always felt like it's impossible for the tape to slip once it's on there. But in reality, I mean, here's proof of it. If it was supposed to stay in one place, then it would have stayed in that place and not moved, even under all that pressure. But that chunk of tape, even though it was duct tape, which is probably one of the strongest, stickiest tapes out there because of all the stickiness they have built on it, you can see that it was wrapped around the arbor where I had to clean it all the way around, and it was still causing the braid to slip on the spool. And that's what was causing this customer to have, you know, problems with his casting on the line, because if you think about it, once it starts causing that snake-like effect, what it starts doing is making the top end of the braid, you know, bump up. So it's basically like balling up in one area, where y'all know if you do that with braid, it will cause a backlash. So by us fixing the internal problem of this, it should make everything else fall into place perfectly. Yeah, cold front started rolling in and everybody's like, oh, it's cold, it's cold. It's like, man, this feels so good. So freaking... And actually what I'll do is I'll use this,
The nipple part?
the thicker braid to hide the nipple. Because if I put the knot over here, what ends up happening, the nipple is going to be exposed, and then the line that's pulling off before the knot will get underneath it, and there's a chance, say you're getting down spooled to that knot and it hits that part and it'll cut you right off. So by me tying my knot around it, it's going to protect that line, because then it won't be able to slip underneath there, because since I've back spliced it here, you got actually the double up of the braid, so it's a lot thicker, so it'll keep it, yeah, from worrying about that.
So that one little section's doubled up, right?
Yes.
When you splice it.
Yes. So now you can see how basically I've built a bridge around it, and you're locked in there. So. Getting ahead of myself. Seen this kind of knot before, like a backlash or something, and basically like a wind knot kind of deal. It'll tie up on itself, and normally if you pull hard enough, it'll come undone, but sometimes it won't. So we got to break it down.
I guess that's when picks come in handy.
That are the nails too. Guys ask, like, why do you leave your nails so long? I said, for this reason.
No, a buddy that carries a pick, he said he always backlashes. I said, what? Carries a pick with him.
And if this was solid, I wouldn't even try for it.
Yeah.
But because it's hollow, then yeah, it actually, I mean, yes, it could be tight, but it is workable. You don't happen to have your rod with you, do you?
No.
Okay. That, and right now too, we'll be able to see how much line you've lost because I've got the line counter going too.
Oh.
So, and also too, since I started the line counter when I did all of this, we'll also see how much line capacity you got because we're at 77 yards right now.
Yeah, because I think he said he added 102. Say probably like 260 for something.
Total?
I want to say when I got it spooled, so I have a Garcia's 7,000 red, which I think is the same line.
There it goes. Look, like I said, it was a wind knot. It already came undone.
Dang.
Yeah. All right. So that's out of there. Alright, so we're at 136. The burn right here. You'll step this way. Rub your finger on it. Feel that roughness? Okay, now come further down and you won't feel it anymore.
Oh,
That's the stuff that I'm looking for, and that's what will cause a break off easily right there.
Now, how does that happen?
Friction of the line, because even though you wet it on the outside, you're only wetting the first like 10-15 yards of line. That's the amount of wraps on there. Once it goes further than that, then it's all dry line coming off, and as it's coming off, the spool's spinning this way and it's trying to come off this way, but at the same time it's slow on the inner core, so them rubbing your hands, it
But
builds
even
up.
if I wasn't able to get like 30 yards, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
Oh, okay.
the first 10 to 15 yards, that's it.
Oh.
Once you hit 30 yards, you're into dry braid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I tell people, even when you wet it like that, throw a simple cast. Don't you know, and once it lands, that's why you see me on the pier doing this, is because I'm trying to get that salt water. Salt water will actually stick to this a lot better than fresh water because they don't dry instantaneously.
Because that first cast it locked up, and then the second cast is when I busted.
Yeah, that first cast right there, when it locked up, that could have built from friction because now it's in that dry braid.
Yeah, because that first cast, midair, like,
Yeah.
dang, it just like locked up. I was like, what?
Yeah, and you're
And the
lucky.
second one is
You're
fine.
lucky it didn't break off right there.
Yeah, it didn't break out on the first. It broke off on the second.
Yeah, because it already burnt the line, and now that it's coming off, because it doesn't seem like much, but the spools have their own tension, and you got to get it going. And once it's going and stuff like that, it creates this big old arc to go through the first eyelet. So Nick actually did a really good video of showing this, and he had, I mean, the arc was like this off the reel into that first guide. And what he was doing, because he was power casting, the arc was so bad. Here's the guide. The line was coming over on the front side of it, and it was causing him to backlash. So what they did was they inverted that guide to put the two legs in the front, so that way it forced the line to come back over this way, and it reduced the amount of backlashes that they had. Now, there was something else too. When they were doing that, they were noticed that the mono would create this arc, but then the braid would create a secondary arc like this, right at the knot, because the braid is softer than the mono. So it was like this, and then it would backlash right there, and it would break off. So and that actually happened to me, and I was like, man, how can I bridge that gap? And I was like, well, what if I made the braid a little thicker? And this was before I started dealing with hollow core. So what I started doing was I did a bimini twist, and I would do it like 3 to 4 foot long, double-ended loop. And then I'd do the worm knot that over here, and the bimini had its own braid over here. So what I did was I did the mono, and then it would create the little bridge, and then the braid, and no more backlashes. So but yeah, right there. So we got to cut that out, because even then, see what I'm saying? Yeah. But let me go to a good spot.
Wow. Huh.
Okay. So yeah, it wasn't the braid. It was that burn when you got into dry line. So, and that, like I said, that happens with all the braids. I don't care what company.
I've never experienced it like that. Like burn. Not that I've noticed, but I've never.
And that's why too, well, I try to teach people to keep their fingers on the line, because they can feel these imperfections. And that's why I brought you up here, so you could feel that, and you can, okay, it feels rough, but a lot of people are used to that because they're used to dealing with solid braids. Solid braids are really rough. But when you go to a hollow core, and it's a good hollow core, it's real smooth, so you won't have those problems. So let me cut that section out. We can splice in, and you'll be good to go. And we're at 198, and I said it was
136, you said?
Sounds about right. That's why I'm recording. So we gotta go back and double check it. But yeah,
136.
We'll take it up to the 236. So you didn't, like I said, that 30 yards. Because if you had to add the math, it was about a 30 yard where you finally broke off. So, yep. What I do with the knee?
Yeah, because he added, I think, 102. So whatever I had there plus, so I guess 102 or something. guess I lost the 30 yards.
Yep.
When it popped.
Yep, right.
Like I said, it was like,
Mm-hmm. Well, you said you broke off twice, so it
Yeah.
probably was the 15, right when you got in that dry braid,
oh.
and then so you
The second
started
one
from.
seemed shorter when it popped. I think the first one went a little bit further until it locked up.
Okay, so what ends up happening too, you got to remember, the line is going this way, right? And then it comes back this way. So there's 5 to 10 yards in between that, from that, say it burned right here in the middle. It messes up line both left and right of it. So even after you've cleared off this line going this way, you still got to go further and come back this way to make sure when it comes back to that center point that it hasn't messed up the line there. Because this ain't literally like this. If it was like this, then you would only have to worry about that top layer. It's gapped out like this. So you may hit 3 layers in before you actually get to where you stop that abrasion burn, you know what I mean?
So I guess we go. Just 30 yards I lost. But I was like, man, lost my leader.
Yeah.
Wait.
And for decades, dude, I was so in love with Abu Garcias. It was just.
I mean,
I still love them now. I like the power that I can get with the other reels.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, since I was a kid, man, that was like, I mean, Penn was there, Shimano and all of that, but something about the Abu Garcias just made me fall in love with them. And so I would mow yards and do all of that to buy my own gear, because obviously my parents couldn't afford it. And to spend, even back then, I think it was like $100 on a reel was just like, that's a crap load of money, So, but I did it. And then I even bought myself a 10,000C back then, and it really, I don't remember why I got rid of it, but I think I got rid of it because when I went to Bob Hall, saw everybody with the 4/0 HW, I was just like, wow. That's when it really like, okay, I want that. So. But I think it was more because you can see more line on the reel, and I think that's what caught me more. That and the price too, because I think at that time we could also get the almost two of the 4/0s for the same price as one Abu Garcia 10,000. About to go see my chiropractor. Needs to pop some crap in the back. In 207. What's up, boss? All All right, so where we're at now, you want to kind of fish with it as is, so that way you can kind of get used to the tight line before we go adding more, and that way you can see the way it functions on the reel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And whatever.
And then also too, that way once you hit over that yardage, you know, and you see that whole top shot go, then you, hey, you know what? Let's add that little bit of top shot back on there. That way you can see your 100-yard cast go and know that you're over it. So, is it still sprinkling outside, or is it stopped? You know, I got some water boots.
Why? Oh, it's gonna rain in here? What? Is that what you talking about?
No, I was gonna go throw this cast real quick
Where at?
in the field, but I'm wearing Crocs and walking through the grass, so, you know, soak the Crocs real quick. So, you gonna go cash your check real quick?
Yeah, but Owen, ask you. I got an appointment at 11:45, and I also want to go try to see if I can get into Lopez.
To get into what? Oh, yeah. I just tried to bend down right now, and I told myself I gotta go over there to the doctor to have him crack my back.
I was at the ballpark Saturday and Sunday. God damn, man, I didn't do shit. Just sit down. But I don't know. Maybe that fucking did it. And that fucking chair, big ass chair. I don't know what the fuck happened, man. But it's like, I don't know what the burning feeling, man, down there.
Damn it.
And when he pops it, it puts me back in. It kind of like, it releases the tension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now, since it's not aligned, your muscles are struggling to compensate for that offset. So.
Yeah. And next week, not this week. I thought it was this week, but Gracie. That's why Gracie. I brought my truck because she had to go take her mom to do something. But, it's next week. That's when they're gonna inject my back. And those two, I already talked to Loco. He said, "You try it, see what it's gonna do. That way you'll know from there and shit."
Yeah. Are they doing like a?
It's what is that? Like a half steroid, point something steroid.
Or cortisone shot?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And,
it'll help with the pain and stuff like that, but it does not help with the healing. So you got to remember that if something is like messed up in there and you don't feel the pain and you go try using it, you're just going to mess yourself up worse. I had to learn that with I ripped my bicep tendon when I worked at the base as an aircraft mechanic. And so I got the shot and I was like, oh man, that feels good. And then I went to go play pool or I was doing something and I moved a certain way. I was like, oh, there's the pain. And it just, after that, my whole arm just dropped like completely. And it was because I had a 3 millimeter rip in the bicep tendon. But I kept going back for 6 months. Like, dude, it's not getting rid of the pain. There's something really wrong with it. Well, we have to do all of this first before we can recommend a CT scan. And I was like, do it. Like, I got to get back to work kind of deal. Like, I was trying to get back. And finally they did it. Oh, you got a ripped bicep tendon. That could take up to a year to heal. I'm like, well, those cortisone shots ain't helping. Like, you know, just give me something to numb the pain or whatever. And basically we just had to let it heal itself. So
they did a CT scan, they did an MRI, and